So we will understand the meaning of export. Okay. Followed by that, we will understand the related terminologies. So it refers to transaction involving transfer of goods from one. So here we will write country, not one. Okay, because it is export. So in export, we have a country to country movement of goods from one country to another country. Against the payment of foreign exchange. Okay. However, we have written a technical definition here, but we will understand it through the example. Okay. Let's say suppose there is Mr. A. Okay. There is a Mr. A who is residing in country I, and there is a Mr. K who is residing in country J. Okay. Now Mr. A supplies some goods from one country, from his own country I to another country J. Okay. Goods of, let's say, US dollars, thousands. So Mr. K will pay $1,000 to Mr. A. Okay. So this is the meaning of export. However, in export there is a very famous contract in which most of importers and exporter will be indulged. Okay. So Mr. A will be exporter. Okay. And Mr. K will be importer. Exporter is the person who export the goods. Okay. Who export the goods. However, importer is the person who purchases the goods. So I'm drawing the arrows to make you understand that what type of transaction is going on between the parties. Okay. Now let's understand the meaning of contract, that is being known as freight on board, shipping point contract. Okay. So what are the main characteristics? First of all, seller does not pay shipping expenses. It means that whenever the exporter is the exporter is transferring the goods to another country, so he will not be liable to pay the shipping expenses. Okay, like transportation cost. Also, seller is not liable for loss of goods in middle of way. Okay. The third most important characteristic is seller is absolved from ownership of goods when 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 it leaves the place of seller. Okay, now what does that mean? We have three characteristics here. That first of all, let's say suppose Mr. A is transferring goods to Mr. K. So first characteristic says that Mr. A will not pay shipping expenses related to transporting of goods to Mr. K. Okay, now what the second characteristic says, that let's say suppose the goods while being transported lost at this point. Okay, the good lost at this point. So seller will not be liable for loss of goods in middle of the way. Okay, it is the owner. The loss will be borne by Mr. K, that is importer or purchaser. Okay. In the third characteristics, seller, or we can say Mr. A will lose ownership of goods if and when the goods will leave the place of Mr. A. Okay. So three important characteristics have been clarified. So that matches with choice D in our case, which is the current solution for the case. Okay. So the buyer buyer becomes the owner of goods when the goods leave the place of exporter. Okay. In alternative way, importer becomes the owner of goods when goods leave the place of exporter. Okay. Not at the point when goods reach to the place of business of importer. Okay, so our correct choice is choice D. However, you can write what I have written so far. Okay, however, choice D is the correct answer.